Hi, my name is Fatima Abdul and this is my ABA 634 SAFMEDS overview video. I'll be discussing my SAFMEDS data and progress, my study methods and adjustments, and whether or not my objectives have been met. This is my ABA 634 data starting from this blue condition line with my decks, showing my decks 1 to 3 data over weeks 1 to 7. My A-cell trend lines for each deck have increased gradually from below the aim band to above the aim band, moving at a steady upward progress with low variability from low to high for each deck. That has been my pattern across all decks, and I'm usually able to meet the aim band with an A-cell of 14 by the second week. Additionally, in the first few days of implementing each new deck, I usually score a D-cell between 1 or 10 on the first or second day until I implement my new deck technique, which I usually implement on day 2 of each new deck. And upon implementation of that, I have a better understanding and better foundational knowledge of the cards, and I'm able to stabilize my D cell at 0, and it moves in a downward trend towards 0 and then stays at that low stable 0 trend level with high stability across all days afterwards. My interventions have been keeping my workspace clean and clutter free before starting any sessions, and this really helps me to reduce distractions and stay focused on my SAFMEDS. Additionally, I try to do my SAFMEDS before I start any other work or studying for that night, so that I'm not mentally tired. My interventions to increase my A-cell score and to make continuous upward progress have been to use my new deck technique to include a pre-trial or to increase my number of timed trials. The new deck technique involves breaking up each new deck on day 2 of implementation of the deck, breaking it up into smaller piles so that I can study each individual pile of similar terms, and then I combine all of the terms together, or all of the cards for that deck, and then run through all of them until I feel confident that I know all of it. This usually takes about 1 hour so that I have a firm foundational knowledge of all the cards. After this, my performance and scores, my A-cell scores usually increase, and I'm able to do better in each session. My D cells decrease and my A cells increase. Additionally, if I'm still struggling to make upward progress with my scores, I implement a pre-trial. A pre-trial involves running through all of the cards of the deck untimed right before I start my timed sessions, my timed trials. This helps as a refresher of the content right before my sessions, and I'm able to remember it better, and it increases recall for my time trials. If using the pre-trial doesn't increase my A-cell scores sufficiently, I include another intervention where I increase the time trials from 5 to 10. At the end of using all of these interventions, I'm usually always able to increase my A-cell score at least by 1. That's my goal for each session, to increase my A-cell score by 1 and to continue making upward progress with my A-cell scores for each deck. Now moving on to my fluency deck charts. Here I've been able to maintain consistent progress with my A-cell and D-cell trend lines. They're very stable. My A-cell trend line remains at a high line across all days, and with very low variability. My scores usually range between 20 and 25, and this is really due to how many cards I'm able to complete within the 30-second time period. This varies depending on the length of the words on the cards, or how familiar I am with the cards that I shuffled in to use for that session or that day. My D-cell scores remain at 0 across all days, a zero trend at a low level with high stability. And I feel like I've reached a plateau with my fluency deck and my maintenance deck. I think that this shows that I have mastery of previous decks, and I'm happy I'm able to maintain progress across all days with my cards. This really indicates to me that I'm able to retain the knowledge of the decks for long term, which is also one of my goals. So after understanding the data between my fluency deck and my standard acceleration chart, my acquisition deck, I can say that I have met my goals of meeting the ACell score of 14 for each deck, to make consistent upward progress with my ACell scores, to bring my D-cell scores down to 0, and to achieve mastery or like maintenance of my fluency deck, which indicates retaining the previous knowledge of all the cards. I'm very pleased with my performance in my SAFMEDS, and that's my data overall. Thank you so much.